Stop what you are doing right now and lock in, because the Blue Jays universe is absolutely exploding with news from multiple directions simultaneously, and we need to break all of it down for you in one place before opening day on March 26th sneaks up and changes the entire conversation. We have Mad Max Scherzer standing in front of a microphone in Dunedin and delivering 3 words that shut down every single pessimistic take about his health and his timeline in one sentence. We have a pitching depth situation on this roster that is simultaneously the most exciting and most nerve-wracking problem any Blue Jays fan has ever had to think about. And we have the 2026 World Baseball Classic officially underway in Tokyo and Houston right now, with Blue Jays players scattered across 9 different national rosters and a 23-year-old Australian prospect who just hit a home run in the very first game of the tournament that has every baseball mind in North America buzzing about what he will eventually do to the American League. If you are not subscribed to this channel yet, fix that right now because we are covering everything, every single day, until the World Series trophy comes home to Toronto. Let us get into it. Let us start with the story that had the entire Blue Jays fanbase screaming at their phones Tuesday afternoon, because when Max Scherzer sat down to speak publicly for the first time since his return to Toronto was officially confirmed, nobody in that room knew exactly what to expect. He had missed significant time in 2025 due to a thumb issue that was never fully explained and which had been referenced in every off-season conversation about whether bringing him back made any sense. He had posted a 5.19 ERA across 17 regular season starts, numbers that look ugly on paper without the context of pitching through pain for much of the year. He had signed a $3 million base deal with incentives that could climb to $10 million based on innings pitched, meaning the Blue Jays were not committing serious money without him performing. All of those question marks were real and they deserved honest answers. And then Scherzer gave them in 6 syllables. I feel healthy. I feel good. I just want to pitch. 6 syllables. And the weight behind every single one of them was enormous, because this is not a player who uses words carelessly. This is a 3-time Cy Young Award winner with 2 World Series rings who narrated simulated at-bats to himself in his first bullpen session back in Dunedin, calling out the pitch types and locations out loud as he threw them, which is something that made pitching coach Pete Walker and John Schneider stand behind the mound and look at each other with grins they could barely contain. Schneider's exact reaction, which he delivered to reporters afterward, was 3 words of his own: damn. The pitching coach was chuckling. The manager was chuckling. And Max Scherzer was doing exactly what 41-year-old future Hall of Famers who are chasing one more World Series ring do in the middle of spring training. He was treating every single pitch like it was October. The context of that bullpen session makes his declaration even more remarkable. Scherzer was a free agent throughout the winter and did not sign until late February, meaning he spent the entire offseason throwing to minor league free agent hitters at his home in Jupiter, Florida, completely unsigned, simply because that is the level of obsessive preparation that defines everything he does. He arrived in Dunedin on Monday morning in full Blue Jays uniform within hours of the deal becoming official, stepped onto the mound, and threw a side session that left his coaching staff laughing with delight. He threw again on Wednesday. And his Grapefruit League debut against the Philadelphia Phillies, confirmed by Sportsnet's Ben Nicholson-Smith and manager John Schneider, is happening this Saturday, where Scherzer plans to throw multiple innings. MLB.com's Keegan Matheson reported his full declaration. He plans to be ready for opening day. Not available in April, not targeting mid-season, opening day against the Oakland Athletics on March 26th. Over 2,963 career innings, Scherzer holds a 221 wins and 117 losses record with a 3.22 ERA. His 3,489 career strikeouts rank 11th on the all-time list and second among all active pitchers. He has been to the World Series 4 times, winning twice, in Washington in 2019 and in Texas in 2023. And he started Game 7 of the World Series for the Blue Jays last November in Dodger Stadium with the franchise's first championship in 32 years on the line. He did not get the win that night. He has been thinking about that for 4 months. And he just showed up in Dunedin and told the entire baseball world exactly what he is planning to do about it. There is a secret to how he got past his thumb problems, as Matheson noted in the MLB.com piece. But whatever it is, The results speak loudly enough without the details. He is healthy. He is throwing. He looks the way he looked in the ALCS in Seattle when he barked at Schneider and refused to leave the mound in a moment that Schneider later said was his favorite interaction of the entire year, and which perfectly captures the Scherzer personality more accurately than any statistic ever could. Now let us talk honestly about the starting rotation situation, because while Scherzer's return is deeply exciting, the full picture of the pitching staff heading into opening day is actually one of the most complicated puzzles this organization has ever had to solve. And the honest answer is that several pieces are currently missing from the board. Shane Bieber is starting the year on the injured list with right forearm fatigue, and while the Blue Jays Nation coverage this week noted he is trending in the right direction after playing catch at 60 feet, there is still a catch in the update, in that he will not be ready for the regular season opener. His return is expected sometime in the first 4 to 6 weeks of the season, but that is a significant gap at the top of the rotation given that Bieber was the deadline acquisition who helped push this team to the World Series last year. Ricky Tiedemann, the highly touted left-handed prospect, has been paused again due to elbow soreness. Bowden Francis is out for the season after undergoing Tommy John surgery. And Trey Yesavage, the franchise cornerstone and World Series hero, is being managed on a careful slow build plan that will see him throwing 3 to 4 inning outings at minimum to begin the year. That means the rotation that walks to the mound on opening day will look something like Kevin Gausman, Dylan Cease, Trey Yesavage, Jose Berrios, and either Max Scherzer or Cody Ponce filling the 5th slot, depending on exactly where Scherzer lands in the build-up process. Yardbarker's analysis of the situation noted that Schneider's preference is a 5-man rotation but that he is open to 6, and suggested that Eric Lauer will likely begin the year in the bullpen as the 6th starter option while the top 5 take their turns. That is a functional rotation on paper, but it is not one without risk, and the risk concentrates almost entirely around 3 variables: how Yesavage's arm responds to the workload ramp-up, how quickly Bieber returns and how healthy he looks when he does, and whether Scherzer genuinely maintains opening day readiness after his late arrival to camp or whether he ends up needing the first few weeks of April to fully build up. The Blue Jays need Scherzer healthy for October, as the Globe and Mail wrote this week. But this is the American League East, and getting through April also matters. All of which makes the World Baseball Classic an even more layered event for this organization than it would be for most franchises, because the Blue Jays have players on 9 different national rosters and the tournament runs through March 17th, just 9 days before opening day. That tight turnaround is both a blessing and a potential complication. The blessing is the competitive fire those players bring back to camp. The complication is the injury risk and the physical recovery time required for players who go deep into the tournament. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is representing the Dominican Republic, a team that Fox Sports described as one of the tournament favorites alongside Japan and the United States, with a lineup that also includes Fernando Tatis Jr., Juan Soto, Julio Rodriguez, Sandy Alcantara, and O'Neal Cruz. Alejandro Kirk is representing Mexico in Pool B in Houston alongside Randy Arozarena, Andres Munoz, Jarren Duran, and Taijuan Walker. Kazuma Okamoto is representing Japan, a roster that features Shohei Ohtani, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, and Seiya Suzuki. Andres Jimenez is representing Venezuela. Leo Jimenez is representing Panama. And R.J. Schreck, the outfield prospect who ranks 9th in the Blue Jays system and who has legitimate opening day roster aspirations, is representing Israel. That is a remarkable amount of Blue Jays organizational talent competing on the international stage right now, and it has created one of the most compelling secondary storylines of the entire spring. Schneider and the coaching staff are watching every single one of those WBC games on a screen in Dunedin, looking at how their players handle elite international competition before they return to camp and compete for roster spots. For Guerrero, Kirk, and Jimenez, the WBC is almost a formality given their established big league status. But for Schreck, this tournament is an audition. If he hits in Houston against Mexico, the Dominican Republic, or whoever else Israel might face, the conversation about his opening day roster candidacy becomes much louder when he walks back into Dunedin on March 18th. And then there is the player who does not belong to the Blue Jays at all but who is generating the most buzz of any non-star in this entire tournament and who will absolutely be relevant to the Blue Jays' planning in the coming years. Travis Bazzana, the 23-year-old second baseman who the Cleveland Guardians took with the first overall pick of the 2024 MLB draft, became the first Australian-born player ever selected first overall in an MLB draft and is now playing for Team Australia in Pool C in Tokyo. He homered in the very first game of the 2026 World Baseball Classic on Thursday, a solo shot that gave Australia a 3-0 lead they never relinquished in a shutout win over Chinese Taipei in the Tokyo Dome. According to Yahoo Sports live updates, his home run was crushed at 103.2 miles per hour off the bat and traveled 393 feet, which are numbers that put it in the top tier of all batted ball events across the entire tournament. Australia won 3-0. Fox Sports had already tabbed him as one of the breakout names of the 2026 WBC before the first pitch was thrown. After Thursday, that prediction looks prophetic. He is expected to make his major league debut with Cleveland at some point in 2026, and when he arrives, the Blue Jays will be seeing him regularly in American League competition. Closer to home, the Blue Jays spent Tuesday trimming their big league camp roster with the expected organizational moves. Adam Macko, who serves as a starting pitcher for Team Canada in the WBC, was optioned to AAA Buffalo. Fernando Perez and Gage Stanifer have both been reassigned to minor league camp. These are the routine choreographies of a spring training that is now entering its final act, with rosters being shaped, decisions being crystallized, and the focus of every player in Dunedin sharpening toward what matters, performing well enough in the next 3 weeks to be standing in the Rogers Center dugout when the regular season begins. For some veterans, the roster spot is guaranteed. For the fringe players, every at-bat and every inning between now and the final cutdown is an argument for their inclusion in what the organization believes is a legitimate World Series contender. What makes this spring training different from the ones that preceded it is the specific weight of what this team went through last November. Every player who was in that dugout when the final out was recorded in extra innings of Game 7 knows exactly what it felt like to be 1 run, 1 inning, 1 pitch away from the championship. Schneider said it plainly when he told reporters that the World Series loss has raised the floor for this team's expectations in 2026. They are not happy simply to have been there. They are not satisfied with the American League Championship. They want the trophy and they know precisely what it will take to get it because they have already done everything except hold it. Max Scherzer's 3 words Tuesday were not just a health update. They were a declaration of intent from a man who started Game 7 and did not come away with the win and has been throwing in Jupiter, Florida, without a contract, through the entire offseason, because he intends to be on that mound again when it matters. Now it is your turn to tell us exactly what you think. Is Max Scherzer genuinely capable of being ready for opening day after arriving in camp so late, or do you expect him to start the season on the injured list and join Bieber as a mid-April return? With Bieber out, Tiedemann paused, and Yesevich on a limited plan, is this Blue Jays rotation deep enough to hold down a first-place record in the AL East through the first 6 weeks of the season? And are you watching the World Baseball Classic for Vlad Jr. and the Dominican Republic? Or are you keeping one eye on RJ Schreck and Israel as a preview of what could arrive in the Toronto outfield before the summer is over? Drop all of it in the comments right now. Smash that like button if 3 words from Mad Max, I feel healthy, are all you needed to hear to feel completely confident about what 2026 holds for this organization. Subscribe to this channel right now because opening day is exactly 3 weeks away and we are going to be here every single morning covering every development, every roster move, and every WBC highlight that involves a Blue Jays player until the season begins. Share this with every Blue Jays fan you know. Mad Max is ready. The WBC is underway. And the long wait for that